Hi there. I saw a sign in a restaurant that says, "Good food is all the sweeter when shared with good friends." And I actually think that's true. I think we live in a culture and a society where it's normal, it's usual, it's a fun thing to do to get together with people in social situations, with food and with drink. And that's the culture that we have, that we seem to always get together around those things. And yet, for so many people I talk to who are trying to live a healthier life, who are trying to lose weight or improve their health and well-being, I hear so many people talking about the eating out occasions, whether it's on their own or in a social situation, as being some of the most challenging parts of their journey. And I'd like to share with you this idea that it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to give up your social life to be healthy. We get to be social. We get to have a good time. What we need to learn is how to do it in a healthy balance. And for some of us, that will mean making some changes. So my question for you today is to think about, what is the actual challenge? Why is it that you feel you can't be healthy and be social at the same time? And I'm going to propose that the reason that is because of the rituals that we, or our social group, our tribe, if you like, have created. So many of us find that when we're getting together with people, we now have this expectation that there will be an overabundance of food, or that there'll be lots of unhealthy choices, and it will just be what's expected. I think here particularly about socializing when alcohol is involved. It seems like we have to overdrink in order to have a good time. And I want to encourage you to feel like that doesn't have to be the case. So take a moment and think about, with your social eating occasions, when you're eating out at a restaurant or a cafe or a food court or at someone else's house, if you're having people over for a gathering, if you're getting together for after work drinks on a Friday, what are your rituals? What are the habits that are just expected? And do you want to keep them? This is so important because so often we have rituals like, well, I just have to drink because that's what people are doing. You know, if I go out for coffee, it has to be coffee and cake or a biscuit or something. How often do we say, oh, come on over for drinks, come on over for lunch, come on over for dinner? Right? It always is about the food or the alcohol. But really, in the end, I ask you, is that really what it should be about? What it is really fundamentally about? I contend that instead it's about connection. It's about a shared experience, about enjoying spending time with people we care about. You want to know something really interesting? None of those things require food or alcohol. Of course, if you do want to include them, you can. There's no reason why not. But how do we have it in a healthy balance? And I really want to talk about these rituals because there is such a strong primitive social drive that we have. You know, our prehistory, our biology drives us to want to be part of a tribe, to want to be part of a group. Unfortunately, that's not always serving us now. It means that sometimes we don't speak up, we don't advocate for ourselves. We go along because we don't want to be rejected. We don't want to lose status in the eyes of our tribe. We don't want to be ejected from the tribe. Yet when you talk to people, right, about massively over catering at an event, most people don't want all of those things. When we talk to people about over drinking, It is the contention of most people that they don't want to overdrink. And yet we persist because of this drive to be part of the tribe, to not make a fuss, to not create a stir. And so I'm going to invite you, when you're thinking about your rituals, do you want to keep them? Are you willing to advocate for your own health and well-being? Like, seriously, do you want to be in a tribe where the cost of being in the tribe is damaging your health and well-being with food or with drink? And so often it's compounded because, sometimes we will make those poor choices. We will overdrink, we'll overconsume, or we'll make poor eating choices. And then we beat ourselves up for making those choices and for not standing up for ourselves and for not following through with our desired goals and actions. And of course, that just makes it worse. So first of all, I invite you not to do that last one. Don't beat yourself up about any choice you've made. The rituals you've had because they've served you in the past. There's been some use to them. There was a time in our history when food was the most scarce resource that we had. And so to come together and share food was the most generous act that you could give. Right? Giving the thing that was the most valuable to you and sharing it. But we no longer live in that world. We live in a world of abundance of food. And I want you to think about when you're having those social events, particularly if it's at someone's house or at a park or something like that, where people are bringing along the food. Are you bringing the most valuable thing that they have? Or have we fallen into a world of convenience? What's easy? I'm thinking about some other rituals here, maybe some that aren't helping. And this is the idea of, do I have to finish everything on my plate just because I bought it? Do I have to have dessert, have an entree, have extra, have more than I need, have seconds? Can I stop when I'm satisfied? I think you will all know, I certainly have learned over my years, that overeating, overconsumption doesn't actually feel better, right? Obviously there is pleasure in food and drink. It feels good for a while. But I think you'll find that when we overconsume, that pleasure drops back off again very quickly. We actually feel worse. So consider that if your ritual is to always eat everything that's provided, or to overconsume just because you've paid for it. Keep in mind that most restaurant meals are 3 to 5 times larger than a standard serve. And that most people over-cater. Certainly a ritual we had in my family growing up, that whenever there was an event, if we had 20 people coming, 20 people would bring enough food for 20 people, which means we had enough food to feed 400. But you don't have to keep any of the rituals that you've created. They're all optionals. All rituals are simply choices that we've made repeatedly and collectively agreed upon. Don't have to keep them. And I've learned this so much in my own journey, that you can advocate for your own health and well-being. You can just decide that, I don't want to participate in that particular ritual anymore. I don't have to be pressured into finishing everything on my plate. I don't have to be pressured into doing rounds or shouting for that next drink. Don't have to overconsume. In fact, I don't even have to have anything if I don't want to, right? I can get together at a social meetup without food. I can meet up for a walk, go for a swim, I can connect with people and share joy and passion without eating and drinking. Here's one for you. I can sit in the dark and watch a movie without eating. You can go for 2 hours, I guess most movies are these days. You can go for 2 hours without food. Did you know that? So keep that in mind. What are the rituals you have? Do you want to keep them? Don't be frightened of stand up, because what you'll find is that very often when we do advocate, when we do suggest a different way, or we decide that it's not worth it for us, we say, I'm not doing that anymore. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat until satisfaction. I'm going to stop when I'm full. I'm going to bring some healthy options. Or we don't need the food or drink at all. And when you do, and stand your ground, and don't be pressured into changing, don't be bullied into changing, suddenly you'll discover that very often there is many other people in your tribe, in your social group, who actually feel the same way you do, who don't want to be doing all of those same things. We've just all been doing it to go along, to get along. So don't be frightened to stand up. You might just inspire the tribe. You might just lead the tribe in a new direction. Oh, and hey, worst case scenario, well, let's say you're ejected from the tribe, right? And like, get out, you're not drinking, we don't want you anymore. Great. Now you have the freedom to forge your own path. Now you have the freedom to look at your own self-care and self-value and build from there. We live in an amazingly connected world. We can always make a new tribe these days. We can start with one that shares our values. So just remember that. Okay, so let's say you do want to change your rituals, that you've decided the ones you have, or some of the ones you have, are not helping, and you'd like to do something different. Well, how do you do that? And how do you get social eating or eating out into a healthy balance? Well, in our workshops this week, we talked about having a plan, thinking about what you do before the event, what you do during the event, and what you do after. And so for before, you want to think about, well, what are the things that I want to have, that I want to enjoy? And how do I have them in a healthy balance? How can I put them into the rest of my day or the rest of my week so that I'm not over-consuming? I think about the ritual of having cake at a birthday. Okay, so there's going to be cake. Do I want a piece of cake? Well, if I do, how can I balance it out? How can I fit it into a healthy allowance? Well, maybe I'll skip some indulgences on some other days. Maybe I'll make sure I'm having healthy, delicious meals for the rest of the meals of that day, right? They're going to be healthier versions. Of course, there are so many healthy options to go for when you are out. So you might want to look at the menu in advance. You might want to think about, well, what sort of things are they have? What sort of things could I enjoy and stop when I'm satisfied? Remember, we want to gravitate to these sorts of foods. Think about things like seafood and skinless chicken or turkey breast or eggs. For my vegetarians and vegans, think about all of the pulses and the legumes. Think about tofu and tempeh. Think about vegetables, of course, and fruit. These are all going to be fantastic options to go for. So it would be unusual, I think, for many places, restaurants, cafes, other people's houses, to not have something that's a good option. And by the way, don't be frightened of taking a good option, particularly if you're at someone else's house. Never been kicked out of a party or a work event by taking a good option. You can do that. In fact, I found in my life, I used to work in a hospital, and one of the rituals we had there is if you're going on holidays or leaving, or you'd come back from holidays, or it was Tuesday, we had a morning tea with cake, and if it was catered, it was always those deep fried things, dim sims and spring rolls and all sorts of things. It was biscuits and cheese and all this sort of stuff. So, which are fine in moderation, but can be healthy when you overdo them. And be unhealthy when you overdo them. Is that what I said? Anyway, they're unhealthy if you overdo them. But I decided I didn't want to participate in that. I wanted the social connection, but I didn't want to eat the unhealthy food to get it. So I started taking in a fruit platter. And very quickly, we discovered that I had to take in a fruit platter with some already portioned off for me so that I got some. because everyone loved the fresh food. No one else really wanted the convenience, cheap, easy fried food. And when there was another option available, they took it. So over the course of time there, we started to talk to the caterers. We started to talk to the organizers of the morning tea. And by the time I left, most of the food, let's say 70% or more, of the morning teas were catered with healthy options, because that's what people preferred. That's what I mean by inspiring others to change their rituals. Speak up, advocate. There's lots of things you can do. Now, of course, also before going along, you can have a little something to take the edge off the hunger. Right? I often think about this because particularly when you're eating out or eating at a friend's place, sometimes there's delays. The food takes much longer to come than you thought it might. So you end up eating later. There's a bigger gap. You're more hungry. You ever found when you do that, that leads to overeating? You eat fast. Or maybe you're all just sitting around eating the bread beforehand. So have a little something, take the edge off, decide in advance what you're going to have, know the good options. And then when you're there, maybe talk to the staff. What are the healthy options? Explain what you want to do. Talk to the organizers and then make that choice. Advocate for yourself. Ask for sauces and dressings and things to be on the side. Ask for things to be cooked the way you'd like them to be cooked, to be grilled or barbecued or steamed or poached, instead of fried or battered or crumbed, for instance. So choose a healthier cooking method. Control the portion by putting those other unhealthier parts of the meal off to the side. And remember, listen to your body. Stop when you're comfortably satisfied. Because overeating and overdrinking isn't gonna make you feel better. It's only gonna make you feel worse. So it's not better value, even if you haven't finished everything on your plate, even if you skip the dessert. Same deal with drinks. Decide how many drinks you're going to have. Decide how you'll stick to that number. Maybe you're going to alternate drinks with water or diet soft drink, lime and soda, something like that. For me, I love a glass of red wine when I'm out and about for a meal. I don't like over drinking. So I'll have a glass, but I also have a water glass and a diet soft drink. And I actually make it a rule that I have to finish all three before I can top any of them up. And if I do, I top up all three again. So it slows me down. Right? I'm actually in a place now where I can comfortably savor one glass of wine over an entire meal. No problems. And really enjoy it. Okay. I'd love you to share more tips because there's so many more that we could do before and during. But I want to move on to what happens after. And the truth is, if you've changed your rituals, you're participating with healthy food in a healthy balance, healthy drinking, then you can just continue to do those things. You get to live your life. You just move on. It's just part of your healthy life. It's not something separate. And if you have ever overindulged, or you've made a poor choice, or you ate more or drank more than you had planned to, well, remember that our healthy life is made up of all of the choices we make each and every day. So you've made that choice now. You can't go back and change it. All you have to do to be living your healthy life is to go to the next choice and make it healthy. So just continue to make healthy choices. With a little practice, it becomes second nature. So you never have to worry about social eating occasions. You never have to be concerned. It's not a challenge. You learn how to manage it in balance. And you might just find that as you go along, as you look after you, and you draw that line in the sand and you change those rituals, that you inspire others to do likewise. And your whole tribe gets healthier. We have an amazing power to grow and to evolve and to develop into the person we want to be. So this week I invite you into that space and think about What is one ritual that you're going to change in your life on purpose? I'd love for you to tell me down in the comments below. Well, have an awesome week. Enjoy your social or eating out occasions. Never eat anything you don't enjoy, and truly enjoy everything you eat. Have a great week. If you want more help transitioning into the life that you want to be living, rather than the life that you have, then remember, you can always sign up for a free exploratory coaching session with me on my website. Go to livemorelife.com.au and click on free exploratory session. Fill in the form and I'll be in touch to help you out. Talk to you soon.